Good day, my friends. Welcome to Canadian Immigration Channel. In this video, I would like to quickly go through federal versus provincial programs, which ones to choose. Every single day, at least 4 or 5 times, I receive this question or request to apply for provincial nomination. Can you help me to go through PNP? Most of people don't even know what PNP stands for, but for others, there is a sort of confusion which one would be better, which one would work better, and which way to look at. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to encourage you to go either this or that way. Is just a fair comparison between these two. Now, when it comes to provincial immigration, in most of cases, provincial programs would either work as an extension of express entry or in conjunction with the one. So in other words, you have express entry profile, you do not have enough points, and you are looking to get additional 600 points for provincial nomination. So in other words, you have to meet the minimum requirements for express entry. You then have to satisfy provincial requirements, which might be pretty simple or which might be quite weird. Say in case of Saskatchewan, they want you to be licensed, they want you to be certified, etc. Depends on the occupation, of course, right? There are lots of those occupations which do not require any licensing. Now, you have to meet these requirements, then you have to apply for the province, provided that it would be open, provided that you are in the right time, in the right place, and provided that all the documents are in order. Remember, we spoke about Saskatchewan, that their officers are quite weird in a way when they're refusing you, saying that you haven't submitted a document which in fact you have submitted, and it's very difficult to challenge them. So provided that all these requirements are met, you are waited for a few months for this provincial nomination, and then when it's granted, you have to go back to federal authorities and they will process your file, which turns out to be much longer than just federal immigration, which turns out to be sometimes quite challenging. But at the same time, it might be your solution whether you're not able, say, to compensate the lack of score in express entry system just because you're old, just because you're aged, just because you do not have enough education. It will be quite difficult for you to get one. And there are lots and lots of those ifs and buts. On the other hand, federal immigration is quite straightforward. It's very easy provided that you meet the requirement, provided that you could score as much as needed in order to pass through express entry system, or you have an employer and you could luckily move smoothly through Atlantic immigration. Now, when we're talking about express entry, it all comes down to the core principle. You have to make sure that your language test results are quite high, either in English or in French, which might be difficult for many of listeners. Therefore, provincial immigration could be your lifesaver and game changer. So which way to go will definitely depend on you, but I would always recommend you to start from express entry, start from creating the profile, and then decide whether you would be retaking the exam, trying to do your very best to make sure that you would score high enough, if that is even possible, right? If unless you're like 40 plus, right, where you're not able to get enough score and you still have to look at provincial nomination. On the other hand, you could look at provinces, you could participate in job fairs, you could participate in provincial sessions, and make sure that you would compensate the lack of score this way. So it's either or, whichever way would you prefer. It would be longer, more challenging, but safer in terms of taking the language test exam, or you would like to retake the exam and make sure that you nail it in express entry system. Whichever way you would like to go, we would be glad to assist you. Stay tuned with us, subscribe for the channel, and if you would need support, feel free to send us an email.